Greetings all, the name's Angelshade and welcome back to the Arsenal. In this video, we will run through the Call of Duty 2 hand grenades and handguns, and their performance in both campaign and multiplayer. And we start off with grenades, mostly because virtually nothing changed in them from the first Call of Duty, and again, all of them have exactly the same stats. They deal 250 damage maximum in single player and 200 maximum in multiplayer. You can carry a maximum of 4 grenades in single player and 3 in multiplayer. However, keep in mind in multiplayer the number of grenades you get issued depends on which weapon you choose. They have a blast radius of 256 inches, which boils down to 6.5 meters. While each army has its own grenade, they all behave identically. And when it comes to grenades, the laziness factor of the developer team is even greater than previously perceived. All of the grenades use recycled models from previous Call of Duty with a new texture, which is not all that bad. I mean, they're pretty simplistic to begin with. However, certain functionality that has been added in United Offensive has been removed from them again. That being grenade cooking. Yes, in United Offensive you could cook grenades, but for reasons known only to the development team, this functionality has been again removed in Call of Duty 2. This resulted in some very interesting tactics used in multiplayer, especially in clan wars. Clans would train to throw grenades at certain angles at specific places on each map in order to guarantee where the grenade is going to land and then promptly explode, rendering anyone in their blast radius quite effectively dead. Much like in first Call of Duty, the number of grenades you get issued in multiplayer depends on what weapon you choose. 1 for submachine gunners and trench gun users, 2 for semi-auto riflemen and support gunners, and 3 for riflemen and snipers. Trench gun users also get a single smoke grenade introduced in United Offensive, which is of great tactical use in search and destroy game mode. But at the time of the game's release, the smoke grenade was frowned upon because using it caused a great deal of lag and a FPS drop because of the state of the machines used to run this game back then. Next, let's cover the Call of Duty's handguns. There are 4 in the game, and all of them reused from United Offensive, only looking a bit more polished now. First off, we have the COLT M1911 again, which deals 150 to 60 damage in single player, 45 to 10 in multiplayer, and 50 in melee. The magazine size is 7 rounds, and you can carry a maximum number of 35 rounds in single player and 24 in multiplayer. Its reload times are 2.1 seconds mid-mag and 2.5 seconds dry. It has a rate of fire of 480 rounds per minute, and you can see the damage multipliers both in single player and multiplayer. Next we have the Luger. The Luger Parabellum .8, it deals 90 to 30 damage in single player, 45 to 10 in multiplayer again, 50 in melee, and a magazine size of 8 rounds. You can carry maximum 48 rounds in single player and 24 in multiplayer. It has a reload time of 2.5 seconds mid-mag and 2.5 seconds when it's dry, and a rate of fire of 444 rounds per minute. Again, you can see the damage multipliers. I'm not gonna read them out loud, you can simply read them because you still have eyes. Next we have the Russian TT-30, which is a variant of the TT-33, which was introduced in United Offensive. It's basically the same gun, so I'm gonna count them as the same gun. It deals 120 to 35 damage in single player, 45 to 10 in multiplayer, and by now you can see a certain similarities between all the guns listed, and 50 in melee. It has a magazine of 8 rounds, and you can carry maximum 48 rounds in single player and 24 in multiplayer for it. It has a reload time of 2.2 seconds mid-mag and 2.3 seconds when it's dry. The rate of fire is 480 rounds per minute. And lastly we have the WEBLEY, the Mark IV. Its damage is 115 to 60 in single player, 45 to 10 in multiplayer again, and 50 in melee. It has a magazine size of 6 rounds, you can carry maximum 36 rounds in single player and 18 in multiplayer, and it takes 5 long seconds for it to reload. It has a rate of fire of 480 rounds per minute, and you can see the damage multipliers. Now, since all of them have been reused, I will drop a link in the description to my previous video for those who are interested in historical notes about these guns. Now, handguns are a sidearm, and they no longer get a special slot. You always start with a primary weapon and a sidearm. If you pick up a new gun, it will replace the one you're holding, so you can replace the mostly useless pistol with a more useful gun, which is useful. In single player, there is no reason to ever use the handgun, and I doubt you ever will unless you somehow manage to waste all of your primary ammunition and fail to replace the pistol along the way with any of the dozens of guns you walked over. In multiplayer, the usefulness of the handgun is extremely limited. Handguns have such wildly inaccurate hipfire, are difficult to aim with, deal small damage, and their efficient range is around 20 meters. Another interesting thing about the pistols is they all share almost identical stats, if you haven't noticed. All pistols deal exactly the same damage, which is bad because they don't all have the same magazine or reload speed. So WEBLEY that has only 6 shots and reloads at the speed of a melting glacier deals exactly the same damage as the 45, which has 7 rounds and reloads in half the time. Recoil of the pistols is also ludicrously high, which makes them aiming down the sight nearly impossible. In fact, the handgun with the least visual recoil is the WEBLEY, who should have the most of it. Generally, handgun usage in multiplayer usually boils down to running out of ammo in your primary weapon, switching to the pistol, and then rapidly expending all of its shots, firing from the hip, and in 9 out of 10 cases missing every single one. Then, in desperation, either running away or trying for a pistol bash. More often than not, this ends in you becoming softly tenderized by the enemy, who is holding a full and ready automatic weapon and is slightly annoyed that made his screen slightly red by one stray hit from your pea shooter. And because COD 2 no longer uses a health bar system, by the time you reload the pistol, enemy pretty much fully regenerates from the few hits that you manage to land on him. In short, handguns in Call of Duty 2 are pretty much useless and only considered a desperation weapon when you literally have nothing else but to use but it. It will take another sequel before pistols take their rightful place in the arsenals of Call of Duty games. And that's about it for the grenades and the handguns of Call of Duty 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until the next video.